My goodness, it is minus 15 degrees today, and everywhere I'm running is just ice. So I'm like speed walking. Oh, this activity definitely doesn't match my skin color.
It's been nearly 2 years into this pandemic and 2 years working from home, and I noticed that my fitness levels have been at an all-time low. Now, while I do work out 4 to 5 times a week using resistance training and doing compound lifts, I've noticed that simple tasks like just running down the stairs into my kitchen to grab something to eat and running back upstairs would leave me out of breath, and my Apple Watch would indicate that my BPM or beats per minute were extremely high. This was very concerning to me, so what I decided to do was try running for 30 days. So we'll see how that turned out, if it was a positive experience or a negative experience. So in this video, I'll go over the progress I've made into 30 days, some of the challenges that I faced, and some more insights into whether or not running is something that's beneficial to you. And I'll also be going over some medical journals that I found online to support some of the things and the observations I made during this challenge. Now, to start off this challenge, I wanted to track some key metrics to understand if this run challenge was improving my life or it was making my life worse. So the three main indicators I tracked was my total distance ran, my average pace per kilometer, and my maximum BPM. Additionally, I arbitrarily set myself distance goals so I could push myself during this challenge. I didn't want to become stagnant and sort of just get used to it. My goal, and this is a very arbitrary goal, is to run 5 kilometers in 25 minutes. And by the end of the 30-day challenge, I had fixed this challenge so I would be running 5 kilometers. Before we get into the results, I just want to preface this video by sort of giving an idea of what my health levels are at. So I'm about 5'11", 165 pounds. As I mentioned, I do resistance training about 4 to 5 times a week, but I never enjoyed running in my life. Like, I despised it. I don't think there was an instance where I could run more than maybe 2 or 3 kilometers without being completely out of breath. So for this challenge, I set the bar very low for myself, just so I wouldn't just quit midway through this challenge. I wanted to just start off very low and then work my way up progressively. Before we jump in, here's a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video. You guys, please like and subscribe. So starting off with the first 5 days, my goal for running was 2 kilometers. And for my British and American viewers, that's 1.25 miles. The first run went pretty smooth. I was able to hit 6 minutes and 12 seconds per kilometer on my pace. But I noticed that my maximum BPM was 167, which was pretty high in my opinion. Now, progressing from here, my goal was to decrease my maximum BPM below 167. So this was my baseline run and my baseline BPM for the entire 30-day challenge. So over the next 3 days, I was able to meet the minimum 2 kilometers ran, and I was actually able to get my pace down to 5 minutes and 50 seconds. But I did realize that no matter how quickly I ran or how slowly I ran, my maximum BPM always hovered around the 167 mark. And one thing, if I'm being honest with you guys, I actually ended up missing day 5 of this exercise. I think it was either snowing or raining, but already 5 days into this challenge, things were sort of getting a little iffy. Now, moving on to days 6 to 10, my minimum distance goal jumped up to 2.5 kilometers. I was able to hit the 2.5 kilometer mark for all 5 days, but I did notice that my max BPM just kept going at that 167 mark, and I actually ended up going up to 172 at one point. My pace throughout these 5 days varied between 6 minutes and 7 seconds to 6 minutes and 23 seconds, so it was very consistent. Now, moving on to day 11 is when I started to realize that my distance goals were a little too progressive for me. Now, the goal for these next 5 days was to run 3 kilometers, but it was only on day 13 that I actually hit this goal.
Woo. Hey guys, day 15 of the run, and it's a little cold and a little snowy. 3 kilometers today, halfway through the 30-day challenge, and I'm well, I feel like I'm out of breath, but I actually feel quite great. And by the end of the month, I should hit 5 kilometers. See you guys soon.
Well, after this particular run, things weren't good at all. I actually had a horrible pace, the worst pace I had, at 7 minutes and 36 seconds, but the temperature was well below freezing, and I'm talking about like minus 11 degrees Celsius, which is definitely not ideal for a novice runner or running for anybody. My average BPM in these 5 days actually did fall below 167, but that probably has to do with that extremely slow pace, so that is probably an outlier for this particular set of days. Now moving on to days 16 to 20, I really hit my stride. Like literally hit my stride running. These were the absolute best 5 days out of my entire challenge.
All right, day 16. Today's a 3.5 kilometer run, and it marks that I'm over 50% of my challenge. Oh my God, it's kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie. People are driving by me and saying, why is this guy talking to his hand? Because I'm holding a GoPro. It doesn't look like I'm holding anything, but I feel amazing. And honestly, I might even go for 4 kilometers tomorrow, but this is how everything's progressing. See you guys soon.
My body started to adjust to the cold, and I was able to hit my 3.5 kilometer distance goal 2 out of the 5 days, and I came extremely close on the other 3 days. My best pace during this entire challenge actually hit on day 17, where I ran a 5 minute and 37 second per kilometer. But no matter what I did, I still noticed that my max BPM was still hovering around that 167 mark. So no progress made there yet. Now moving on to days 21 to 25 is where I started to realize the inconsistencies of my running and where my motivation was at an all-time low. The weather outside is absolutely horrible during these 5 days, and temperatures were as low as minus 15 degrees with loads of snow everywhere. That being said though, day 25 I hit a pretty major milestone.
Ooh, it's day 25, baby. 4 kilometers today. Check this out. Foggy day today, but it's not cold. See you guys soon.
I was able to run 4.04 kilometers at a 6 minute and 38 second pace, and I noticed that my max BPM was actually under 167 this time. So I was starting to see a little improvement in my heart rate, and I could see that my body had adapted to the progressive overload of continuously increasing my distance throughout these 30 days. Now moving on to the final 5 days of this challenge, from days 26 to day 30, and this is where the wheels literally fell off this challenge. I was scheduled to run 5 kilometers in these next 5 days, but I didn't even hit 3 kilometers, and I actually ended up missing days 29 and 30, so I ended up tacking on a day 31 to make up for those 2 days.
Hey, look at this. We got absolutely blitzed with the snowstorm. I missed the last 2 days of running, but it's starting to melt, so today's the day to get back into it. Sort of throws a wrench in everything, but journey continues.
At about this time is when muscle fatigue and soreness really caught up to me, and I was just over this challenge. I just didn't want to run anymore. So after tabulating all my runs into a tracking sheet, I was able to run an average of 2.7 kilometers with an average pace of 6 minutes and 24 seconds per kilometer. My maximum BPM averaged out the 30 days was at 165, so a very slight decrease from my baseline that I had set from day 1, but because it's an increment of just 2, there's some margin of error. So in conclusion, I don't think that my max BPM actually decreased throughout this run. Also, because I was progressively overloading, it probably didn't give my heart and my cardiovascular system to actually adjust to the new running pace quick enough in order for the max BPM to actually go down. Now, if there's one thing I could have done differently during this challenge, it would have been to not actually run on consecutive days. I feel that running for 30 days straight, or for the 27 out of the 30 days that I did run, my muscle fatigue and my joint soreness got pretty bad at one point. Running on asphalt and sidewalks will do that to you. Also, I actually didn't run in running shoes. I didn't have any until the last 5 days of my run. As a matter of fact, check out this ridiculous outfit and picture of me running in Air Forces. Definitely not recommended, and it's definitely not beneficial to improve your running. But having proper gear and having rest in between my running days probably would have been a better idea. And it's something I would do moving forward, because I plan on continuing to run after this challenge. Another thing I realized from this run was how quick I was able to mentally adapt to running, but physically I really didn't see much of a change. Now, this challenge was actually inspired from other YouTubers who participated in the 30-day challenge, and while I'm not calling them liars, I believe that the benefits that they reaped from the 30 days was a little bit exaggerated for views, and I'm honestly going to say that 30 days is not enough time to see a drastic improvement. It's a great introductory period to get into the mindset and set a good habit of running, But in order to really reap the benefits, like I said, you have to do this for a prolonged period beyond 30 days. Now, another thing I want to discuss about my challenge was the climate and temperature. Now, obviously, is it ideal to run in snow and sub-zero temperatures? The answer is no. But is it doable? And can you do it? Absolutely. It only takes a couple of days for your body to climatize and get used to the weather. And after that, it's just smooth sailing. And in my opinion, and in my mind, that I started this challenge in the winter, it would only make running when spring rolls around and summer rolls around even more enjoyable. So would I recommend that you start in the winter or when the temperature's not at its best? Absolutely. Nothing wrong with it. Now, as for my initial concerns of having a high resting heart rate and shortness of breath after small exertions, I did notice that those did disappear. So was my challenge a success? Technically, yes, because that's the whole reason I started it. And I do feel if I continue to run, it would only improve my cardiovascular system even more. Now, I provided some anecdotal evidence of how my 30-day challenge went, but here's the actual journal published by the American College of Cardiology in 2014. A total of 55,137 adults were examined with association of running and cardiovascular mortality risks with a mean age of 44 years old. This 15-year-old study concluded that running just 5 to 10 minutes a day at slow speeds of under 6 miles per hour is associated with reducing death from all causes and cardiovascular disease. Yeah, you read that correct. The study found that persistent runners had the most significant benefits with 29% and 50% lower risks of all-cause and cardiovascular mortality respectively. Now, it's clear what a substantial effect that running has on your body. I'll actually post a link to the study in the description box below. So in conclusion, I thought this 30-day challenge was a great eye-opener into realizing how important running is and how important cardiovascular health is for the human body. Now, another takeaway is that the first 30 days, you will not see an immediate change in your health. However, it will change your perspective if it's someone like you or someone like me that hates running. I used to think it was a chore. Now I almost enjoy it and find it meditating. Will I continue to run after the fact? Absolutely. Will I continue to run 30 days consecutively or consecutively throughout the year? Absolutely not. I think running 4 to 5 times a week with rest and proper diet is the way to go. Thanks for watching the video, and until next time, peace.